Welcome to Learn Out Loud, where curiosity is the best strategy. Today's guest is Cam Meunier, founder of Leveraged Creator, Clip Curator, and the guy behind some of the smartest short-form content systems on the internet. If you're a creator, a founder, or just tired of guessing what actually works, this episode is for you. So let's get into it. Cam, welcome to Learn Out Loud.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Madison.
Yeah, I would love to start off with just having you share a little bit of your backstory, a little bit about who you are, what you've built, and why you do what you do.
For sure. So I know that we have a lot of ground to cover here, so I'll try to go through my backstory relatively quick. But yeah, like you said in the intro, I started out at a dealership. I was working $11 an hour making the content for the dealership. I didn't really know what I was doing. They didn't really know what they wanted, so it was a good combination. And that was just really an opportunity for me to learn. I knew that when I was at the dealership, I knew that that wasn't going to be the end all be all. So I took that as an opportunity to upgrade my gear, continue learning. And I started growing an Instagram page at the time. I paid some mentors back then that I found on Instagram. I remember the first payment that I made was $75 to a mentor, and I was 17. I couldn't pay any other way than Apple Pay. So I actually was untruthful about the age for Apple Pay so that I could pay him $75 so that he would start teaching me. And he was like, yeah, I think the way that you should take is making videos on social media. I didn't really think much of it at the time, but now obviously seeing what it's kind of surfaced into today, it's very accurate as far as, the advice that he gave me. And then I ended up not super following through with that. It was kind of tough. I was still living at home and it just felt really weird to be on camera or record for social media. But what I did do is at the dealership, I made friends with one of the top salesmen. I was like, we should make content for social media, giving sales advice, and then you should teach other salesmen how to sell better because he was one of the top salesmen in the group. So alongside working with and for the dealership, I was like, we should also do this, right? And so I was like, well, this is, a good starting point. Let me film with him. And we ended up buying a mentorship together. I think it was, I don't remember if it was 500 or 1,000. All I remember is I paid half and he paid the other half. And that was when I started learning about social media and how to grow on social media. I grew maybe 4,000 or 5,000 followers in 5 months, which is nothing too special. And I was posting every day, twice a day. I was just grinding content and it was going nowhere. And then I remember I just got to the point where I was kind of sick of it going nowhere. And then I decided to kind of take my frustration out in a title that I created. And that title was When Cardone Realized Belfort Was an Idiot. And I remember I was just frustrated with the fact that nothing was working. And I was like, if that didn't work, I don't even know what I was really thinking, but if that didn't work, I would have probably just given up. And I just took out my frustration on that title. And then that title ended up going, and that video ended up doing 100,000, maybe 80,000 views. That was back when IGTV was a thing. And that's when the profile, followers just started pouring in. The next 45 days, I grew to 28,000 followers. Through that,
Oh my gosh.
I was able to, because I just doubled down. I was like, oh, well, this worked. Aggressive titles work. I'm just going to keep doing aggressive titles. That's when I discovered, I think, more direct response copywriting to a degree. I was obviously by no means a master, but I realized that more aggressive titling was a great way to grab people's attention. And I just realized that through trial and error over 6 months. So that was kind of the beginning of it for me. I think that really started my journey of understanding human psychology and how it affects our attention span and how people hold attention. And that continued through my journey of editing videos and how can I hold people's attention and then also get them to take actions, which really set the foundation for kind of where I am today and still what I do today. But yeah, that was kind of the beginning for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel and you were 17 at the time when you started that? That's awesome. I feel like you've always had that sort of mindset of video has to accomplish something it can't just be video, it can't just be content. So that's really cool. So can you talk a little bit about where you are today? Like, what are you doing? And kind of like what's Leverage Creator, Clip Curator? What are you working on?
For sure. So I think now it's 2025. Yeah, about 4, 5, no, maybe 3 years ago, I started an agency with my now business partner, Presley, and we're 50/50 partners. We started the Clip Curator. Back then, we were making short form content because we were really good at short form content. That's also when short form content was like a lot more popular and it wasn't so oversaturated like it is now. And we were getting great results for our clients. So we actually ended up scaling that. He actually was the one that started it, and I joined him when he was at maybe like $5,000 a month with like 7 clients. They're all paying him like a couple hundred to $1,000 a month. And then I like joined on. I was like, yo, look, like all I want is 50%. Or he threw out the idea of 50%. I was like, look, I only want 50% of new clients. Like I don't care about tapping into anything existing that you have. And then from there, we scaled that up. We went and we scaled to $70,000 a month because we were just getting great results, and pretty much everyone wanted to work with us, which was kind of a mistake because everyone that had money we would sign, but not everyone that we signed was a good fit to work with. So we learned that really quickly. We scaled up to $70,000 a month, like 1 month, and then we scaled back down to like 20 or $30,000 a month because we're like, we need some systems. Like we were staying up till 4 a.m. every single night and waking up at like 9, 10 a.m. And it just was not sustainable. We did that for like a month and a half, 2 months straight. And we just got to the point where like, what's the point of this? Like we have literally no life. Like that was every single day. We have literally no life outside of our business. Like we get it that there's going to be a period of time where we're going to have to focus and grind, but it's like we're not making any steps. It's not like we're working on our business. We're completely working in our business, and then we'll just sign another client because we're getting great results, but obviously we're working from 9 a.m. to 4 a.m. every single day, and we're like, there's no light at the end of the tunnel for us getting our lives back if we continue what we're doing. And at this point, like the money doesn't even matter because we can't use it at all. We're literally working like all day long, and that's our entire lives. And it was unhealthy because it's not like we were working out or taking any time for ourselves at all. So we're like, okay, we need to scale this down, build proper systems, and then scale it back up. And then we scaled it back up, and now we actually don't do short form anymore. We fully focus on organic YouTube videos for our clients as well as Facebook ads. And I would say I choose to contribute a lot more time than I need to on my agency each month, each week. I would say I could probably spend on average like 30 minutes to an hour per day outside of occasional client shoots that I have for my agency now. Like I said, I do spend more because there's certain areas that I want to keep growing in that I continue to go and challenge myself in and spend time on. But yeah, now we're doing this month we'll do well over 100K a month. We'll probably go and hit 120, 130,000 for our agency. And that's maintaining above a 50% profit margin, closer to like 60%. So we have things systemized out pretty well. And then my business partner and I are both taking half of that. We do like to reinvest into our business as well. So we do have that. But and then as far as Leverage Creator, we started that last year, and we actually kind of vowed to each other that we're like never going to start a coaching program. And we even like said it online. We're like, yeah, like we don't want to be part of this courses and coaching space at all. We just think it's a scummy space. Like all the people that are like selling courses and coaching, like they're grifters, they're not good. Like those who can't teach. And like we're just going to do the thing. And then what we realized is that more people started teaching it because more people started not being good at running their agency, right? Because it is easier to teach than it is to do it. And so we're like, okay, like this is kind of a problem. Like a lot of these new people are being misled, right? Like ultimately myself and Presley, we met in a coaching program that was a really good coaching program. Like it was actually like beneficial and helpful, and they help people, right? One of the few. And so I was like, okay, well, if people are going to be paying money to join coaching programs regardless, why don't we just make a really good one that actually helps people, like the one that we were in? And obviously we're not going to like stop growing our agency at all because we love our clients, we love the service that we provide, and we have it systemized really well. It's a great business, right? Like we don't have a desire to escape our agency, right? Because we can
Mhm.
actually run it, and we still run it to this day well. And then that's when we started Leverage Creator, so that we could continue helping like people getting into agency as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like that's exactly why I joined Leverage Creator in the first place, was because you guys did what you said that you could do, and then you taught people how to do that. And so I feel like that really helps you stand out from a lot of the other like gurus and like coaches and stuff like that. So that's really cool to hear like the backstory of how it started and all of that.
For sure. And it's still like a battle to this day. Like I would say it's I mean, I get why people only run coaching programs and why they like abandon their agency because like I would say it's a lot easier to run a coaching program. Obviously, it depends on how you decide to go and fulfill, but it's a lot easier than it is going and running an agency. But I think the reason that I love agencies so much, I see a very clear path to 300 to $500,000 a month with our agency. But then
Mm-hmm.
I also love agency because it pushes my skill set and like to learn more and provide more to our clients, which then we can go and use in Leverage Creator as well, and teach. So I'm like constantly growing and evolving with the space as it evolves, which is a huge edge for us because most people, again, that are teaching, they're not actively doing so. If, big changes happen, like even just with AI and how quickly it's evolving, like these other people are not able to take advantage of that and teach how it's actually impacting their agency because they're not actually using it for theirs because it doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. You talk about like you stay growing as the space kind of evolves and all of that. I would love to know like what kind of change do you foresee coming in the future with like long form organic content on YouTube that maybe people should start preparing for if they're in that space?
I mean, from what I've seen for our clients and for myself, obviously I'm biased because I run like a YouTube agency and I've seen the benefits personally and for my clients, but I mean, long form is essential.
Mhm.
Just as far as going and actually building trust with your audience and having in this guru era that we're in where everyone is selling something to someone, it's more important than ever that you can actually prove yourself and what you're selling, and not just in a 30-second video, but over the course of multiple videos, 10 plus hours of content and real results where it's like it's just much harder if you're like authentically showing results to go and fake that over the course of 10 hours of content versus like a 30-second video each day.
Right. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So a few minutes ago, you talked about systems and how important systems are. What's one system or automation that you've built that kind of has changed the game for you?
I would say that it differs probably between me and my business partner. So like my business partner, Presley, has really spent a lot of time building out an automation or just our content management system as a whole, which is Slack, Airtable, and Frame all working together and the SOPs to plug the people into that. So I could definitely say for him, that's been extremely revolutionary. For me, I would say that the tracking systems are absolutely essential for like there's kind of two pieces to when we go and fulfill clients, and one of those is service delivery, so actually delivering the videos on time, good quality, good performing, but then actually tracking the metrics of them. So we're going and creating sales assets for our clients through YouTube, and those are going and closing deals or putting calls on the calendar to close deals on their behalf. And so we need to track that entire journey of when someone goes and views the video all the way to when they go and close so that we can see how much money we're making them because we get paid a percent. So if we're not tracking that, then we don't make performance. Like one client that we just built this month, $10,000 retainer and $30,000 in performance. And that was only possible because of the tracking. So the performance was 3 times more than the actual retainer because we made him over $200,000. and we have a percentage of that. And that's just not possible without very accurate, detailed tracking.
Right. What do you, if you could like just give a basic overview of like what that tracking system looks like, what does it kind of entail?
For sure. So recently I've moved on to using um, attribution software, which just better tracks the entire customer journey, where they're coming into, like entering the funnel. But right now, I've just built a lot of things just on Google Sheets, which I think is way more attainable for most people. So just like very simply, kind of how it works is you have the lead capture that is then tied to a Google Sheet. And then you have like the call booking that's also tied to Google Sheet and then the sale, right? So you just need to see the customer's touch points or the lead to the customer touch points throughout the funnel. So like if someone opts in with their name, email, and phone number, and then someone checks out with that same phone number, chances are where they opted in from is the reason why that they're there in the first place, right? So we have a unique like form that's only on YouTube so that we know anyone that opts in from YouTube and books a call, if those people close, we know they're from YouTube and we know they're from the videos we provided because we're the only ones making videos on our client's channel.
Okay, that makes sense. That's
So that
really,
link
yeah,
doesn't exist anywhere else.
right. Yeah, so you can kind of attribute where it's coming from. That's awesome.
Exactly.
So I know that one of the tactics that you teach is like doing free work and providing value up front for people. But I feel like a lot of creatives overdo it or they don't leverage that free work. What do you feel like creators are missing versus like making free work as like charity versus like leverage?
For sure. So I see a lot of creators doing free work for the wrong people, right? I think free work is probably one of the biggest levers that you can pull, but if you do it for the wrong people, then it's like the biggest waste of time ever. So if you can literally just check these three boxes and one that's working, free work, whatever type of tracking of your work for people that can actually benefit from it, right? It doesn't matter if you're the best at what you do. If you're offering it for the wrong person, it's useless. So making sure that you're actually offering it to people that can benefit from you. And then number two, this is really important because this is where most people fall short, but actually offering your services to someone that could genuinely afford them. And when I mean genuinely afford them, I mean like they're making at least 10 times as much as you would want them to pay you, right? So if I want someone to pay me $5,000 a month, they need to be making at least 50 for them to know, for me to know that they can comfortably afford my services, right? Because like put yourself in their shoes, right? If you're making 10K a month and I'm billing you 5K a month, like that's half of what you're making, right? So a lot of creatives, videographers, creators, they'll go and try to land retainers or land people as clients that can't even afford their services and then wonder why. Like they're like, oh, they see the value, they like my work, but like they just won't pay. It's because they literally cannot afford it, right? And then number three, this is just one that I've, just being in the game that I found is extremely useful over the years. And it's like all of my clients that I love and have worked with for a long time, I've always been able to sit down with them, like at the bar, have a drink, or at a coffee shop and have a coffee, be able to chop it up and actually enjoy the conversation. So,
Hmm. Yeah, that's really important and something I'm learning in my own agency is just I want to work with people that I enjoy being around and that I enjoy working for. Like you said, kind of like building the business around your lifestyle and not your lifestyle around like the business and all of
exactly,
that. So that's
100%.
really cool. I would love to hop into like what does it actually look like when someone stops just creating and starts operating? Like what are some systems and hires that gave you real freedom at the beginning? Um, yeah.
Real, the what gave me the most freedom was one, having a business partner that was the operator. So Presley, my business partner, is the back end operator. So he's the one, he's
Mm,
like making all the gears turn for our agency. And I'm more the front end. So I'm like sales, tracking, getting clients. In the beginning, what allowed me to actually go and start creating. So I grew on Instagram from like 4,000. I dropped a little bit, but I grew over 100,000 followers in 67 days. And the only reason I was able to do that is because I was posting every single day for like 30 plus days straight and like fully focusing on those videos. So I was spending like anywhere from like 2 to 6 hours a day on making those short form videos on Instagram. And I was able to do that because we hired an in-house videographer for like 10 grand a month that was going and filming for all of our clients. At the time I was in Miami. And so he was shooting with like all of our clients in Miami. So it was giving me, the majority of the day to just go and focus on shooting with those clients.
Yeah, that's really important. I feel like videographers in general feel like they have to do everything themselves, and if you're not doing it, like you're not being authentic, but that's just not the case because to grow you have to be able to outsource and you have to be able to delegate.
Hmm.
That's what operating and being a leader is. So
Exactly.
that's really cool. What do you feel like creators hold on to for too long, like before delegating?
Um, So it's kind of this like bell curve. So I think a lot of creators get into creating because of the art of creating, right? They enjoy creating whatever masterpiece it is, right? So I think in the beginning, they have a very tough time just going and outsourcing the art part of it, which is usually the filming or the editing. This is usually like the biggest and toughest part to outsource because no one can do it as good as me, right? Now the issue is if you go and set the expectation extremely high with your client of you will be receiving work that comes from me. And like, for example, like when I went and edited videos, they were really good videos. Not necessarily because they looked great, but because they performed great. Because I understand, and back then also understood how to make performing content. So I set the bar really high for myself, and it's not like I could bring anyone into that role to go and edit those videos for me because it was just very direct response where it's like that video is posted and then it wouldn't perform, right? And then the client's like, wait, why are my videos not performing, right? So um, we would just in the beginning we set the bar extremely high, and we also weren't very good at finding good talent. Um, so it was very hard to outsource. But once we found good talent and we didn't set the bar quite so high, where it's like the reality is like clients don't care about the quality in most cases if you're also delivering a result, right? If you're not delivering a result, then of course they're only going to care about the quality. But if you're delivering a result, then you can compromise a little bit on the quality, which means that you can put a system behind the quality. Because yeah, like you are probably going to do that work the best out of most people because it's your work, and that's why the client likes you, right? But you want the client to get obsessed with your result instead of your work because the result is scalable and your work is not, right? So once we kind of figured that out, started tracking that as well, that's when we were able to really start implementing systems. But it's also like reality is like if you're billing your clients enough, good talent, great talent, better talent does exist. You just have to find it. And like sometimes it might just be like two people, right? So like for us, um, having someone that was capable of shooting and capable of editing good videos, that was two different people, right? So we found someone that was better at shooting than me, and then we found someone that was, roughly equivalent with going and creating viral videos. So it did take two hires to go and do that. But then what's really cool is after we were able to systemize that, we were actually able to scale our agency, focus more on the business. And then after we put great systems in place for the business, now it allows me to be a creative in whatever facet I see as fun or that I want to do, right? Like I have my time back now. So if there's creative projects that I do want to focus on and do, now I get to focus on those creative projects without having to worry about can I pay my bills?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I love that.
For sure.
So you've helped a lot of videographers. What's something that you're like obsessed with teaching them right now?
I would say the most needle moving thing, I would say I'm most obsessed with two things. One is teaching them what's most needle moving for them. And then also like whatever I'm working on in a given week for my agency is also fun to teach because it's fresh in my mind. Granted, it's not always relevant because, usually we're a good couple steps or a lot of steps ahead of where most people are getting started. But I love teaching what's relevant to most people. And what that's been very recently is just helping them get better at sales, as well as helping them get better at improving the offer that they're going and selling so that they can have more confidence in what they're selling and who they're selling it to. So two ways that we're going and like improving our teaching style around that is on the sales side. We just partnered with a company that essentially offers like AI mock calls, and we can go and like pre-program the clients. So our students will be able to essentially get on an AI phone call and like demos, try and sell them their package. And then we'll be able to see a rating for like how well or poorly they did and where they can go and improve, which I think is a great thing because a lot of people don't have any sales experience from the beginning. And so going and practicing a little bit and at least getting some semi real world sales experience. And like, obviously, you can go and set the bot to be way harder than a person would be. That'll just go and help boost your confidence for when you actually do go out and sell. So that's one thing. And then right now I'm working on a couple AI tools. What I'm realizing is that most people, to have the confidence in the offer that they're going and selling, they really kind of just need to be told what to sell based on like our data that we have. So um, sometimes I think a big thing that I learned is like sometimes teaching isn't just the act of like explaining something, but it's also extremely direct guidance when people want it. And sometimes people don't want it, but they need it. And so you have to like work
Mm-hmm.
around that and be like, yo, look, like this is what you need to sell. And I need you to sell this for the next 3 months before you deem it as unsuccessful. Because I know this works because I sell it, this person sells it, this person sells it. So the only reason it wouldn't work is because of you. So the reason that we're working on some AI tools to go and improve this is because obviously everyone does have a different personality. Everyone does have a different skill set. So it's more so ingesting them entirely as a person and what their strengths and weaknesses are, and then going and tailoring an offer that's already proven and works that's best fit for their personality.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh. I love that. So, what is like, what's an example of an offer that you think someone should try for 3 months or so before deeming it unsuccessful?
That's where it's like building this is a little bit tough because it's very dynamic from business to business, right? Businesses need content, businesses, but the reason they need content is because they need customers and they need sales, right? So the medium in which you're going and providing a result for businesses varies dramatically from business. Well, not dramatically, like yes, it's content, it's leads, it's customers, but how you get to it and how you offer it can vary dramatically from business to business, right? So like one of my clients versus a car dealership, how I'm going to go and get them results are very different, right? Like I'm not going to go and make long form YouTube videos for my car dealership clients because it's way less beneficial than if I were to go and make ads for them, right? And you just have to basically have an understanding of what your clients are selling, how strong their offer is, who they're selling it to, and that's why how you go and package your services varies, right? So if your client is selling business to business, then the way that you offer your services is going to be very different than if your client is selling business to consumer. Because usually business to consumer generally is a much cheaper package or product than business to business, and it's made to reach more people. So your marketing will have to vary to go and reach more people, right? So an example of this would be if I'm going and selling water, right, or I'm helping a business sell water, they can sell this to quite literally everyone, right? But
Mm-hmm.
if I'm going and say selling an air filter for a Lotus car, that only appeals and applies to people that have a Lotus car that need a new air filter, which is a significantly smaller demographic and way more precise demographic than someone that needs water, right? So how you package and sell your services to each client does differ, and that's again why we're bringing in AI to go and basically assess the business's offer. And this is why people are like, Cam, what package do I sell? I'm like, well, there's so many variables, right? Like, that's really not the right question that you should be asking. The question that you should be asking is to your client of what is your problem and how can I help you solve it, right? Your problem is you don't have enough customers, you don't have enough leads, you don't have enough sales, right? So how can I plug into your business and help you solve that problem through my skill set, which is creating videos, which ultimately is being distributed on a platform that can reach millions of people.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. And I love that the whole essence of this podcast and the reason I started it is because I want to get better at asking questions and I want to learn from people who are where I want to be. And so I love that part of part of building the AI bot and part of exploring what that offer would be is just diving into questions of like, how can I help you? Who is your ideal customer? All of that. So that's really cool. Yeah. Okay, so I have a couple quick fire questions that I would love to ask you real quick. So you can just answer them like super fast. But what is a big misconception about scaling a content agency?
I feel like there's a lot of like specific areas that we could like dive into that. But I would say the largest misconception about scaling a content agency is that you need to focus on the content and like what you're outputting for your clients, which is important for retaining clients. But the only way to scale it and actually grow is to focus on sales. Like 80% of your time needs to be focused on sales. And I feel like most people are
Mm,
barely even spending 5% of their time on sales.
yeah, yeah, that's a really good one. What is your favorite non-obvious software in your tech stack?
Non-obvious. I would say probably make.com. I don't know. I don't know how obvious it is to most people, but
Yeah,
I feel like it's not that obvious.
yeah. What is it again?
Make.com. So it just attaches. It's like I don't know if you ever heard of Zapier. It's very similar to Zapier, just in my opinion,
Oh,
a
okay.
little bit more robust, and it connects apps together. So for example, like a lead form that you might have in one of your videos to Google Sheets, and it'll connect those two together.
Oh, cool. I love that. Um, if you could give a one-liner that defines your mindset, what would it be?
It's a good question. Optimistic, and there's always more opportunity.
Mm, that's really good. I like that. Okay, this one is kind of like a hypothetical question, but if you got dropped in a city with $100 and an iPhone, what is the first thing that you would do?
I mean, the fact that I have an iPhone, I mean, I'm already at a huge advantage there. I think I would probably, actually, well, okay, wait, is it like a new iPhone or is it like an older iPhone?
It can be a new one.
Okay, because if it was an older one, then you like can't take payments via like tap pay. So if it was
Mm-hmm.
an old one, then I'd go to the store and I'd buy like a Square reader for taking payments. Um, but I would with $100. Um, I mean, I didn't exactly do this, but I would start like obviously knowing what I know now, I would go into businesses and start selling to their pain points. Like I love car dealerships, and I have a way of like really going and talking to like general managers. So I would go and start there, and then I mean with $100, I would feel like I wouldn't even really need it. Maybe like some food. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
fuel
the fact
you.
that I had
Yeah.
the iPhone, I think if I didn't have the iPhone, I only had $100, and I would go and buy like a payment processor, and I would like panhandle until I got enough to go buy an iPhone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so fair. Okay, and then last rapid fire question. What is the most Cam Meunier thing you've ever done that made your friends say only Cam would try that?
I feel like it has to be. I feel like I'm like really known for maybe not as much recently because I've been prioritizing more, but my lack of sleep and like not
Mm,
prioritizing it at all. So I feel like the very like Cam Meunier thing to do uh, was or is like just surviving on as little sleep as humanly possible and just like, you know, putting yourself in such a state of sleep deprivation that you're unlocking new levels of creativity and abusing
Mm.
stimulants.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next follow up. Is do you drink a lot of caffeine? Because I feel like that's a necessity. That's funny. For anyone listening who wants to tap into what you're building, where is the best place to connect with you?
I would say best place to connect would be Instagram. Some of my favorite videos that I've ever created, though, are on YouTube.
Okay, perfect. Anything exciting coming up that you want to share?
I feel like life in general is just exciting. I don't know if there's like one like singular event. I mean, I really look forward to each and every day and, just the opportunity to help people and serve people. Um, I really couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, that's awesome. And if someone only remembers one thing from this conversation as like a takeaway, what do you hope that it is?
I'll combine like two into one. Uh, One, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a take with this conversation, maybe overarching, but wisdom is wisdom will yield way more success than anything else. And success isn't just money. Success is health, wealth, and happiness. So spiritual wisdom, I believe, is extremely important, which is from God, from His Word. I think the Bible is one of the best business books, if not the best, that you could go and read. It's a little hard to decode, and as far as applying to life, and then also don't have shiny object syndrome.
Love that. Okay, well, this was awesome. Thank you so much for pulling back the curtain and just keeping it real. To everyone listening, if this gave you a new lens on content, business, or just betting on yourself, hit subscribe, share it with someone building, and I'll see you on the next episode of Learn Out Loud. Cam, thank you so much again.
Absolutely.